The first time the corridor changed, I was still holding the same key card. My hand was shaking so hard the plastic kept tapping my knuckles. The hallway had been empty a second ago, and then it was the same hallway again, only older, darker, and wrong. I boarded the freighter at dusk, expecting a simple salvage job. Dead batteries, stripped copper, maybe a clean payout. The deck was dry, the lights were off, and every door stood open like someone had left in a hurry. In the galley, the table was set for 6, but every plate had been flipped upside down. I followed the smell of stale coffee into the crew corridor. Halfway down, I found boot prints in dust, 7 pairs, all running. At the far end was a steel hatch marked Lower Engine Access, and someone had scratched "Don't let it hear you" into the paint with a knife. Then I heard footsteps behind me. I spun around with my flashlight raised, and the corridor was empty. But the light at the far end had turned from white to a sick amber, and the hatch I'd just passed was suddenly 20 feet ahead of me again. The ship had put me back where I started, without moving anything else. I looked down at my hands, same flashlight, same key card, same smear of rust on my thumb from the rail by the dock. That was the worst part, the proof that I wasn't imagining it. The ship wasn't haunted like a story, it was repeating like a machine. I forced the hatch open and found the engine room dead quiet. The walls were covered in handwritten logs, taped up in uneven rows, each page dated minutes apart. The first said we heard it below deck. The next said we locked the door. The next said it was speaking in our voices. A radio on the wall crackled once, then played my own breathing back at me. I pulled it off the hook, but the speaker kept hissing in the same rhythm I was breathing. In the silence after, I realized the recording wasn't delayed. It was live. I stumbled back into the corridor, and this time the galley door was open again. 6 chairs were pulled away from the table. On the far wall, in wet condensation, someone had written, "I am always the last one to leave." I backed into the bulkhead as the lights blinked once. In that flash, the end of the corridor was full of crewmen standing perfectly still, all of them wearing my orange salvage jacket. I dropped the keycard. It hit the deck with a sharp metallic ring, and every head in the corridor turned at once. Then, from inside the wall beside me, a voice answered in my own voice, right up against my ear. "Now it knows where you are."